Welcome back to Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm bringing the starting 11 show for Tottenham Hotspur versus Everton on Saturday at 3 o'clock. So let's get straight into it. This is what I think Dyche is going to line up with on Saturday against Tottenham Hotspur away from home. You know, as a lot of you will know, we don't have the best of records away at Tottenham, but hopefully this is the team that Dyche is going to line up with to hopefully get something on the road and hopefully get a result. But in goal, I'm going to go with Jordan Pickford. There was nothing he could do to try and protect his clean sheet on Saturday against Brighton. I thought we were carved open far too many times in terms of defence. And all three goals that Brighton scored, Pickford could do absolutely nothing about. So I think he's going to be crucial against Spurs, obviously keeping them out. I do think it's going to be a lot of Spurs on the ball going forward. They're going to, have the lion's share of possession and the lion's share of attacking chance creation. So I think Pickford is going to have his work cut out on Saturday, but we know what a top keeper he is, and we know how good he is at shot stopping. So hopefully he can keep a clean sheet for us, and hopefully we can go into this game with Jordan Pickford in goal. Moving into the back four, I'll start with left back, and it's going to be Vitaly Mykolenko, I think. He didn't really offer much going forward against Brighton. Maybe that was the tactics. Maybe Dyche has told him to sit back a little bit more. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I don't think he offered much at all going forward. But I think obviously, as we know with Vitaly Mykolenko, he's a good defensive fullback. He's a very good defensive left back. So it'd be good to nullify the threat of Spurs. Obviously, they've got a lot of pace on the counter attack of Tottenham Hotspur. So I think Mykolenko being that solid defensive fullback, I think he will be good at nullifying that threat. And moving into the centre halves, I think it's going to be Michael Keane and Jake O'Brien is going to be the partnership. This is purely due to the fact that James Tarkowski and Jarrad Branthwaite are both carrying knocks. They're both carrying injuries. Jarrad Branthwaite is a little bit further away than James Tarkowski. It's only recently, and it's only this week that it's been announced that James Tarkowski is injured, and he is a major doubt for the Tottenham game on Saturday. With Jarrad Branthwaite obviously a few weeks further down the line, but Keane, he's one of them. It's obviously the only option that we've got. I don't think he had the greatest of games against Brighton on Saturday. We kind of know what entity Michael Keane is. We know what kind of player he is. He can offer us a threat in terms of set pieces. He can offer us a threat in the air, as can Jake O'Brien. Obviously, Jake O'Brien, we've seen he scored a couple of goals in pre-season. I'm looking forward to seeing him in a proper Premier League game. Obviously, it is a little bit of a baptism of fire against Tottenham, considering the attack that they have. Obviously, Heung-min Son, the pace of him, but also James Maddison, the creativity of him. It might run rings around a Everton centre half pairing, but I believe Dyche will go with them too. I don't think he'll be throwing in any youngsters. And obviously, Reece Welch is another option, but I think he will probably be sent out on loan or maybe be slowly integrated into the first team in this season. But I do think Dyche will use Michael Keane and Jake O'Brien this weekend at Tottenham. And at right back, obviously we know we're very light in this position. Nathan Patterson's still injured. Ashley Young suspended. Seamus Coleman still injured. Obviously, there's been a link to Kieran Trippier today. Whether we get that done in time before the deadline tomorrow, I highly doubt it. So I believe Mason Holgate will be selected by Dyche at right back. This is a risky one. Obviously, we know what kind of we know what kind of player Mason Holgate is. He's very hot-headed. He's very rash. He didn't get the greatest of receptions at Goodison on Saturday when he came on late on against Brighton. And I'm not sure I agree with that. I don't agree with booing a player when he comes on, but obviously I do believe Mason Holgate will be lining up at right back on Saturday against Spurs. Obviously, we know we're threadbare in terms of defence. We know the situation we're in. Hopefully, Holgate can kind of pull himself together and just put in a solid performance and try and just keep a clean sheet. That's all we can ask. Obviously, it's a difficult situation for Mason Holgate to be thrown in as well at right back. Obviously, he is a more comfortable playing at centre half. In his loan spells, he has been playing at centre half rather than right back. So I think it will be interesting to see how he gets on. As I mentioned with Keane and O'Brien, they're going to have the work cut out with James Maddison and Heung-min Son, the pace of them and the creativity of them too. I think they are going to have the work cut out, and Mason Holgate is no different for that. But I do think Dyche will be forced into playing Mason Holgate at right back. Moving into midfield, the first midfielder I think Dyche will select is Idrissa Gana Gueye. He'll show that crucial experience that Dyche is always talking about, that crucial Premier League experience. I think Idrissa Gana Gueye it completely embodies that. He's played for us for so long. Last season, he was instrumental in keeping us up, in my opinion. I think his running performances were absolutely fantastic. I thought he was, so instrumental in keeping us up. But also breaking up the play against Tottenham. They do have a decent midfield. So I think breaking up the play against them, obviously Archie Gray is a player that's come into Tottenham recently. He's young, he's energetic, he's tenacious in midfield. So I think Idrissa Gana Gueye will maybe have his work cut out trying to keep up with Archie Gray, but He is very good at his trade. Is Idrissa Gana Gueye. He's good at breaking up the play. He's good in midfield. So Dyche will look to use him and he'll look to trust him. Next to him, Tim Arogbanam. I think he will play on Saturday. He will be given another start. Obviously, we're going from experience to youth. Obviously, something that Dyche maybe isn't looking to do as much as he is with Tim Arogbanam. He played well on Saturday for me. I think he played really well against Brighton. It was a really positive debut, a really positive competitive debut for Everton. Obviously, joined in the summer on transfer, obviously a little swap deal with Lewis Dobbin to Aston Villa. So, he does come from good pedigree. Obviously, Villa are a top academy, so he does have that good pedigree, and I do think he played really well on Saturday. So hopefully he builds on that. Hopefully he builds on that performance and goes into this game with a little bit of wind in his sails and a little bit of a spring in his step, and hopefully he can build on it and look to build more consistency in the team and maybe consolidate his place in midfield. But obviously that's in the absence of James Garner. I do think James Garner would have been the player to play alongside Idrissa Gana Gueye should he be fit. He's not, so Tim Arogbanam will be playing, in my opinion, and I think that's what Sean Dyche will select. And then a little bit further forward in that sort of second striker role, in that attacking midfield role, I think Abdoulaye Doucouré will be given the nod. He'll play behind that striker as usual, as we've seen so many times in a Sean Dyche system. For me, we need a better performance from Abdoulaye Doucouré on Saturday than we saw against Brighton. I thought he was poor. Didn't really create anything, didn't really look to get out of second gear for me. I don't really think he had the best of games in Everton shirt. And that's could be for a number of things. He might not have had the best of pre-seasons, whatever, but I think once he gets up to speed, we know there is a player in there. We know he has played well in a Sean Dyche system, so hopefully we can get the best out of him, and hopefully we can see a little bit of a better performance from Abdoulaye Doucouré on Saturday. For me personally, I would like to see Ali Njai play behind the striker. I think it is now time for him. He's had more of a time bedding into the squad. He's had more of a time to get up to full fitness than, say, the likes of Jesper Lindstrom, for example. So I think it is now time for me personally. I'd like to see Illim Njai instead of Abdoulaye Doucouré, but as we know, Sean Dyche likes to pick the people he trusts, and Abdoulaye Doucouré is one of those players. So I think that is what Dyche will go with. That's his midfield three for Saturday against Tottenham. Moving into the attack, I believe the first player will be Jack Harrison. Set pieces for me, I think this is quite a big thing. That's probably going to be our main source of goals if we are to score on Saturday. That is where I think it will come from a set piece. We saw last season it was crucial against Tottenham, and set pieces were crucial against Tottenham, just whipping them in and hitting them on Vicario. I think he is a little bit dodgy in terms of collecting the ball out of the air from a set piece. He liked to flap at it a lot last season, and we saw it at the game at Goodison in early February last season that he did flap it a couple of times, and we did actually score from one. I think we scored from two set pieces that afternoon, obviously the other one coming from Jarrod Branthwaite late on. So for me, I think that's something we need to utilize. I think that's something we need to try and target is Vicario, and Jack Harrison is certainly a player to do that. Alongside him, I think it'll be Dwight McNeil. And again, similar to Jack Harrison, his set pieces. Obviously, we've not seen that he's the best set piece taker in the world. But that being said, there is another aspect of the game that I think is going to be crucial, and it's playing on the counter attack. And Jack Harrison and Dwight McNeil do possess the ability to play on the counter attack. They are quite good in turning defense into attack. Once Dwight McNeil's got the ball at his feet, he is very powerful in running, and he's powerful in running a straight line. So I think if we can utilize that, that will be good. But as I said before with Jack Harrison, it's the same thing. It's hopefully we can see a little bit of a better performance in terms of creativity than we did on Saturday from them too. Obviously they created a couple of chances here and there. Jack Harrison probably a little bit unlucky not to get on the score sheet early on with that offside goal that was ruled out, but that being said, both of them, we do need to see a little bit more. So the two wingers off the left, I'm going to go with Dwight McNeil, and then off the right is going to be Jack Harrison. And then number 9 playing up front, I do believe it's going to be Dominic Calvert-Lewin who's going to be selected once again. This for me, I think, is a little bit contentious now. I think as we tick on towards the end of the transfer window, and the lack of resolution, shall we say, with the Dominic Calvert-Lewin situation, and obviously all those Evertonians, we don't know whether he's going to stay, we don't know whether he's going to sign a new contract, or we don't know if he's going to leave before the end of the window. So I think this one is getting a little bit more contentious now, whether we're going to see Beto, whether Sean Dyche is going to look to trust Beto a little bit more. I'm not so sure. I do think Dominic Calvert-Lewin will be the player that starts on Saturday, just because as I said before with Abdoulaye Doucouré, it's a player that Dyche trusts, and going away to Tottenham Hotspur, it's a very tough place to go. We've only had 1 point with fans in since the turn of the new stadium for Tottenham. Obviously, we got that fantastic away win under Carlo Ancelotti with Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the score sheet. So hopefully he can replicate that. But as I said before, I think Dyche will look to use the players he trusts, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin certainly is one of those players. But for me personally, as I said before, I'd maybe look to see a Beto. Obviously, I said before with Iliman and Jai, I'd like to see him play, but I'd also like to see Beto play just to throw him in. Obviously, we don't really have a resolution for the Calvert-Lewin saga yet, so maybe we need to start looking to trust Beto a little bit more. I'm not so sure, but I think Dyche will look to use Dominic Calvert-Lewin on Saturday, and especially for his hold-up play as well. As I said before, with the defence, it's not the most of solid back fours, so DCL's hold-up play and his ability in the air, I think Dyche will look to use that with long balls and just to try and give a little bit of respite to the defence. I think it's genuinely as simple as that. I think Dyche will look to use long balls into Calvert-Lewin just to try and get him to trap them in there and just to give the back four a little bit of respite. That's my personal opinion. But that is my starting 11. I'll just run through it one more time. So it's Pickford in goal, Mykolenko, Jake O'Brien, Michael Keane, and Mason Holgate at right back. A midfield two of Idrissa Gana Gueye and Timo Ogbonam, with Abdoulaye Doucouré playing a little bit further forward in attacking midfield. Off the right, Jack Harrison, and off the left, Dwight McNeil, with Dominic Calvert-Lewin plays as the lone striker up front. Let me know your thoughts on the starting 11. Let me know your thoughts, and if you think Sean Dyche is going to go with something else. Is he going to tweak the system? Is he going to maybe go for a back three? We don't know yet, but that is what I think Sean Dyche is going to line up with on Saturday. But make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll speak to you soon.